Hello, good evening and a very warm welcome to all the viewers in Express News with me, Deepika. In the next 30 minutes, we will take you across 100 national and international updates. Let's begin. Every year, 21st April is marked as National Civil Services Day to appreciate the tremendous work done by officers engaged in public administration in various departments of the central and state governments. President Ramnath Kovind extended warm wishes on the occasion of Civil Services Day. He tweeted, "On Civil Services Day, my greetings to civil servants, past and present. Our bureaucracy is rightly called the steel frame and you've been the backbone of our fight against COVID-19. You've raised the bar of professional excellence and dedication in public service. All the best." PM Narendra Modi wished all civil servants on the occasion of Civil Services Day. In a tweet, PM said best wishes to all civil servants on the occasion of Civil Services Day. In different terrains and across different sectors, they are working tirelessly to help our citizens and enhance national progress. May they keep serving the nation with the same zeal. Ram Navami is being celebrated with religious fervour and enthusiasm in different parts of the country on Wednesday. The festival marks the birth of Lord Ram, the seventh incarnation of Lord Vishnu. President Ramnath Kovind greeted the nation on the auspicious occasion of Ram Navami. He tweeted and wrote, "Heartiest greetings to all countrymen on the auspicious occasion of Ram Navami. This festival, celebrated on the birthday of Maryada Purushottam Ram, inspires us to follow dignity in life. Come, let us all take a pledge that we will also defeat the COVID-19 epidemic and integrity and restraint." Prime Minister Narendra Modi also greeted people on Ram Navami and wished that all may continue to be blessed by the grace of Lord Ram. PM tweeted that as per the message of the Maryada Purushottam Sri Ram, all must maintain decorum and follow all the preventive measures for safety from corona. He reminded the Vai Bhi Kadai Bhi. Air Chief Marshal RKS Badorian on official tour to France. LAUDS pilots and seas of the next batch of Rafales on non-stop flight with mid-air refueling by French Air Force and UAE. Thanks especially FASF and French industry for timely delivery and pilot training on schedule despite COVID-19. PM Narendra Modi to participate and make his remarks in his first session of the Leaders Summit on Climate tomorrow. Theme of session is Our Collective Sprint to 2030. PM was also invited by US President Joseph R. Biden to participate in two-day summit which will begin from tomorrow. Education Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal-Nishank has tested positive for COVID-19. In a tweet, Mr. Pokhriyal said he is taking medication and treatment as per the advice of doctors. The government has stormed media reports claiming that export of oxygen from the country rose over 700% in January this year as false. PIB has said industrial oxygen exports in these reports have been mistaken as medical oxygen. In a positive development, an ICMR study shows COVAXIN is effective against multiple variants of coronavirus. Study also shows that the vaccine effectively neutralizes double mutant strain as well. In another development, vaccine front, Serum Institute of India announces price of COVISHIELD vaccine to be available at ₹400 per dose for state governments and ₹600 for dose for private hospitals. Government steps up fight to beat the pandemic. Insurance scheme under Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan package for healthcare workers fighting COVID-19 extended for a period of 1 year. In line with PM's priority to ensure affordable medical care for COVID-19 patients, the government has withdrawn the 10% customs duty levied on COVID-19 drug Remdesivir, API injection and specific inputs. Custom duty has been waived off on Remdesivir, active pharmaceutical ingredients, injection Remdesivir and beta-cyclodextrin used in the manufacture of the injection. The move would help augment domestic availability and reduce the cost of the injection, thus providing relief to the patients. Vaccination continues in the country at full speed. India becomes the fastest country to administer 13 crore doses in just 95 days. Assam will give free vaccines to everyone from 18 to 45 years of age. Funds collected in Assam Arogya Nidhi last year shall be utilized for procurement of the vaccines. On Wednesday, Assam government placed order for 1 crore doses with Bharat Biotech. Uttar Pradesh will offer the COVID vaccine free of cost from the 1st of May when India's vaccine net will widen to include all people over the age of 18 years. Karnataka government has decided to impose night curfew in view of the rising cases of COVID-19. Night curfew will be imposed from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. from today till the 4th of May. During the night curfew, cinema halls, gyms, bars, pubs and assembly halls will remain closed. Amid the massive surge in coronavirus cases, the Assam government has issued a new set of guidelines which was enforced from the April 20th and will remain in effect till the 30th of April. In the fresh guidelines, it was stated that all marketplaces except chemist shops, shops in malls, weekly markets will be closed by 6 p.m. In the funeral ceremony, not more than 20 people will be allowed. Vaccine manufacturers will have to provide 50% of their monthly doses to the Government of India. The remaining 50% can be distributed through other channels. Noted Bengali poet SHANKHA GHOSH passed away this morning in Kolkata. He was 89. Prolific poet and critic SHANKHA GHOSH had been tested positive for the COVID-19 recently and was in home isolation. Widely considered to be an authority on Rabindranath Tagore, SHANKHA GHOSH got many accolades including Jnanpith, Rabindra Puraskar and Sahitya Academy Awards for his literary work and had been confirmed the Padma Bhushan as well. The entire literary fraternity is mourning his death. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expressed condolences on the demise of Bangla poet and writer SHANKHA GHOSH. He said Mr. Ghosh, whose works are widely read and admired, will always be remembered for his contributions to Bengali and Indian culture. West Bengal is entering the crucial 6th phase as voting in 180 out of 294 assembly seats has already concluded in the last 5 rounds. The 6th phase of West Bengal election will be held in 43 assembly segments tomorrow in 10,897 polling booths. In West Bengal, the 6th phase polling to be held in the 4 districts of Uttar Dinajpur, Nadia, North 24 Parganas and Purbo Bardhaman. There are 306 candidates in the fray. The Election Commission has reduced the campaign period to 72 hours before the poll date due to rising cases of COVID-19 in the state. In Maharashtra, 22 patients died in NASHIK's hospital after oxygen tank installed in the hospital reported leakage. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expressed his condolences at the loss of lives in the Nashik hospital tragedy. In a tweet, the PM said that the tragedy at a hospital in Nashik because of oxygen tank leakage is heart-wrenching. Anguished by the loss of lives due to it, condolences to the bereaved families in this sad hour. Union Home Minister Amit Shah expresses grief over the loss of life in the Nashik oxygen tanker leak incident in Maharashtra. Home Minister says he is distressed to hear the news of the accident. Union Territory of Ladakh administration is promoting Kargil region as a tourist destination. Tourism Department is organizing various events in Kargil. In the continuing saga of performing beyond expectations, the Border Roads Organization added another feather in its already studded cap by opening the mighty Zojila Pass on SRINAGAR-KARGIL-LEH road today. Arunachal Pradesh has planned to provide 65,000 tap water connections by March next year under Jal Jeevan Mission. Jal Shakti Ministry has said that Arunachal Pradesh today presented its annual action plan and reiterated its commitment to achieve Har Ghar Jal target by 2023. The state has 2,17,000 rural households, out of which around 47% have access to tap water supply. The domestic stock markets, the Forex market and the MCX were closed for Ram Navami on Wednesday. On Tuesday, the Sensex and the BSE had closed with a loss of 244 points or 0.5% at 47,706. The Nifty at the National Stock Exchange had ended down 63 points or 0.4% at 14,296. Stocks also closed lower on Wall Street on Tuesday, so the Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 0.8%, the S&P 500 lost 0.7% and the Nasdaq Composite fell 0.9% on Tuesday as investors sold airlines and travel-related shares due to fear of a delayed recovery in global tourism. Investors piled into defensive sectors considered relatively safe during times of economic uncertainty, lifting real estate, utilities, consumer staples and healthcare as financials and energy shares fell hard. And global crude oil prices fell for a second day on Wednesday, weighed down by concerns that surging COVID-19 cases in India will drive down fuel demand in the world's third biggest oil importer. Brent crude oil declined 29 cents or 0.4% to $66.28 a barrel. US crude fell 34 cents or 0.5% to $62.33 a barrel. The Union Cabinet on Tuesday gave ex post facto approval to the official amendments of the Finance Bill 2021, which were aimed at clarifying and rationalizing tax proposal for the year 2021-22, Union Minister Piyush Goyal informed during Cabinet briefing. The amendments were essential to clarify and rationalize the proposals further and address stakeholders' concerns arising out of the proposals enumerated in the Finance Bill, the government said in a statement. According to data available with markets regulator SEBI, companies listed on BSE and NSE garnered a total of Rs 7.72 lakh crore through issuance of bonds in the just concluded financial year. This is an increase of 14% from the preceding fiscal, supported by low interest rate and surplus liquidity in the system. The 8th edition of MERCK Foundation Africa Asia Luminary will be co-chaired by Her Excellency Esther Lungu, First Lady of the Republic of Zambia, and Senator Dr. RADHE'S, CEO of MERCK Foundation. 19 African First Ladies will be the guest of honor, and Ministers of Health, Gender, Information, Education and Science and Technology from 25 African countries are expected to participate. More than 14 crore 36 lakh 83,000 people have tested positive for COVID-19, out of which over 12 crore 20 lakh 73,000 have already recovered from. The deadly contagion has claimed over 30 lakh 60,000 lives so far. United States remains worst hit by the pandemic. Over 3 crore 53 lakh people have tested positive in the country. Over 5 lakh 82,000 people have lost their lives. Europe's drug regulator has found a possible link between Johnson & Johnson's COVID-19 vaccine and rare blood clotting issues in adults who received doses in the United States, but backed its overall benefits against any risk. The European Medicines Agency said that its safety committee had concluded that a warning about unusual blood clots with low platelets must be added to the vaccine's labels. Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador received AstraZeneca vaccine against COVID-19, urging citizens to place trust in benefits of vaccines. Earlier, several countries limited the use of AstraZeneca due to suspected links to rare blood clots. Prime Minister Boris Johnson on Tuesday said that Britain is launching a search for antivirals to treat COVID-19 with the aim of having at least 2 effective at-home treatments by the end of the year. Johnson has hailed the advent of COVID-19 vaccines and regular testing as the keys to restoring normality by summer, but his government is also supporting research into therapeutics to help in the fight against the pandemic. Lockdown measures in the Netherlands will be eased from next week as pressure to reopen society mounts despite high coronavirus infection rates. Prime Minister Mark Rutte announced on Tuesday a nationwide nighttime curfew that has been in place for 3 months, which will be lifted on the 28th of April, while bars and restaurants will be allowed to serve small groups on outdoor terraces between noon and 6 p.m. Rio's premier Portela Samba school was transformed into a COVID-19 vaccination center on Tuesday as the country suffers through its worst period of the coronavirus pandemic with more daily deaths than anywhere else in the world. In spite of the staggering infection rates and death toll, many at the Portela Samba school were hopeful that Rio's famed carnival would return in 2022. Libya began vaccinating its citizens in the eastern city of Benghazi on Tuesday, days after the country's new unity government launched a long-delayed COVID-19 vaccination program. Healthcare services officials said that the numbers of doses arriving from both AstraZeneca and Sputnik vaccines are varied, but that the eastern city is well prepared for the program. Government-held parts of Yemen on Tuesday began to receive their first shots of COVID-19 vaccines 3 weeks after the first shipment from the global COVAX vaccine sharing scheme arrived in the country. The campaign kicked off in the Aden, the government's interim capital in a 6-year-old war. Former Minneapolis policeman Derek Chauvin was convicted on Tuesday of second-degree murder, third-degree murder and manslaughter in the deadly arrest of George Floyd. The charges carry maximum sentences ranging from 10 to 40 years in prison. The 12-member jury found Chauvin criminally liable in Floyd's death last year after considering 3 weeks of testimony from 45 witnesses, including bystanders, police officials and medical experts. US President Joe Biden said that a moment of significant change was possible in America after the jury convicted former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin of murder in the death of George Floyd. Addressing from the White House, the US President described it as a giant step forward in the march towards justice in America. The family of George Floyd said they were relieved that former Minneapolis policeman Derek Chauvin was convicted of murder in their brother's death. George Floyd's brother, Philonis Floyd, said that today they are able to breathe again. Outside the courthouse, a crowd of several hundred people erupted in cheers when the verdict was announced. Nervous crowds awaiting a verdict in the trial of Derek Chauvin erupted in jubilation following the judgment. People gathered in George Floyd Square around the intersection where Floyd died, cheered and applauded at the news of the guilty verdict. After a verdict proved Derek Chauvin of 3 charges, several known faces took to Twitter reacting over the verdict. Among them were former President Barack Obama and poet Amanda Gorman. Obama said that jury did the right thing, but true justice requires much more. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson also welcomed the verdict along with many others. In New York, 1 man was killed and 2 other people were injured in a midday shooting yesterday at a crowded grocery store in a Long Island suburb, and police are hunting for the suspect who fled. The attack unfolded shortly around noon in the second-floor manager's office at a Stop and Shop store in West Hempstead. Nassau County Police Commissioner Patrick Ryder said that the suspect, who was dressed in all black, was identified by police as Gabriel D. Wilson of Hampstead and Long Beach, New York. He is either a current or former employee of the Stop and Shop. The deceased person was only described as a 49-year-old man. It is unclear if the dead or injured were also employees of the store. The United Nations Children Agency UNICEF has warned that the number of migrant children reported in Mexico has increased 9-fold in the last 3 months, fueling overcrowding fears at shelters on both sides of the borders. UNICEF Regional Director for Latin America and the Caribbean was in Mexico for a 5-day visit, visiting key sites near the country's shared border with the United States. Chadian President Idriss Déby Itno, who had ruled the country for 30 years, died on Tuesday of injuries received while commanding his army in fighting against rebels in the north. Chadian army spokesperson announced that Idriss Déby Itno has just had his last breath in defending territorial integrity on the battlefield. Britain's Queen Elizabeth has turned 95. The world's oldest monarch is celebrating her birthday, but alone. There will be no public celebrations of an occasion that comes just days after she bade a sad farewell to her husband of 7 decades at his funeral. Elizabeth, who is also the world's longest reigning monarch, will be at the castle for her birthday, which traditionally passes off with little or no ceremony. In France's Paris, people yearning for haute cuisine, joining dining have found an alternative, which is private chefs who serve up meals in customers' home. One such chef is Fatiha Al-Qadawni. Fatiha is a trained chef who takes bookings from private individuals, brings her ingredients to their home and uses their equipment to prepare and serve restaurant quality dishes. She serves between 60 to 80 meals monthly and has to turn away up to 30 bookings per month. Parisians may have spotted an unusual sight when a replica of a 140-year-old electric car was driven around the center of town on the 140th anniversary of the first viable battery-powered electric vehicle. A recreation of the 1881 car was commissioned. The replica vehicle, which took 2 months to create, paid homage to French inventor and electrical engineer Gustave Trouvé, who is believed to have driven the world's first rechargeable electric vehicle down Rue de LIBYA'S in central Paris in April 1881. Pulling out a pan and sieve to sift sand along Australian shorelines might seem unusual, but for a growing group of beachgoers, this is not your usual prospecting. They are citizen scientists hunting for microplastics under the Australian Microplastic Assessment Program. The impact of climate change is increasingly felt by Africa's small-scale farmers who are battling the ravages of drought, floods and desert locusts. Amid this, Pooler, a 5-year-old Kenyan insurance technology startup, offers coverage to help them manage the risk of extreme weather. The insurance policy is gaining a lot of popularity among the farmers in Kenya. Alone, 6 lakh farmers have taken out policies with Pooler, with some claiming full payment of their crop. With climate change, rock falling from high mountains have become a usual scenario, hurting people and leaving man trapped. Amid this, a group of scientists in Switzerland are experimenting with artificial rocks, creating a real life-like scenario. Tens of thousands of visitors gathered at a temple in Vietnam's northern Phu Tho province to mark a religious festival, an event taking place in stark contrast to neighboring countries such as Thailand and Cambodia that are currently battling new spikes in virus infections. As many as 30,000 people were expected to visit the Hung King's temple on each of the 3 days of the festival, authorities said. The event commemorates the anniversary of the death of the first king who founded Vietnam some 4,000 years ago, Lac Long Quang. With the advent of the technology, people are losing interest in reading. The case is same with children. Amid this, a woman in Vietnam is doing her best to inculcate the habit of reading in her children. At least once a week, Hao takes her children to the bookstore to buy new books. Convenience store chain 7-Eleven Japan is testing a delivery robot that can navigate office buildings. The company is working with mobile carrier SoftBank on the project, which has begun in a building in Tokyo. A building in Vietnam is making full use of natural resources to cut down its electricity consumption. As all 7 floors of this building are covered in glass to utilize natural lighting, no electrical lights are needed during the day. Indian pugilists posted a historic performance at the IBA Youth Men's and Women's World Boxing Championship as 8 boxers, including 7 women and 1 man, boxers sailed into the final on the 8th day. Indian youth boxing team have created history by securing an unprecedented 11 medals. The previous best was 10 medals that the Indian contingent won at the World Youth Boxing Championship in 2018 in Hungary. England batsman Liam Livingstone has pulled out of the remainder of the Indian Premier League because of bubble fatigue. All 6 Premier League teams involved in the European Super League have formally withdrawn from the competition. Manchester City were the first club to pull out after Chelsea had signalled their intent to do so by preparing documentation to withdraw. The other 4 sides, Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United and Tottenham, have all now followed suit. English football's Big 6 were part of a 12-team group that announced plans to form the Breakaway League. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has welcomed a decision by 6 English Premier League clubs to quit the Super League project just 48 hours after they agreed to join Italian and Spanish teams in the controversial elite competition. The breakaway European Super League, rocked by the departure of its 6 English clubs, said it would now focus on efforts to reshape the project. Manchester United Executive Vice Chairman Ed Woodward will step down from his role at the 2021 end of the announcement came before Manchester United withdrew from European Super League competition. Chelsea shared a goalless draw with Brighton to climb into the Champions League places. Chelsea will need to finish among the top 4 or with the competition to qualify for a spot among Europe's elite next season. The Blues created little chances, but a point was enough to see Thomas Tuchel's side take up the last of those automatic places, going above London rivals West Ham, who they face on Saturday. Chelsea coach Thomas Tuchel admitted his side's focus was lacking and that the previous 2 days was distracting given the outpouring of anger at the breakaway plan. Bayern Munich need one win from their remaining 4 league games to claim a 9th successive Bundesliga title after a comfortable victory against Bayern Leverkusen. Eric Maxim, Choupo-Moting and Joshua Kimmich were scorers for Bayern. Bayern are now 10 points clear of RB Leipzig, who lost 2-1 at Cologne. Britain Simon Yates has taken the overall lead of the Tour of the Alps following an impressive victory on stage 2. Yates of Team Bike Exchange left behind his rivals after launching a devastating attack with 24 kilometers remaining. Stephen Curry hit 49 points as Golden State Warriors beat the Philadelphia 76ers 107-96. It was the 11th game in a row the 33-year-old has scored 30 points or more. Fans of Bollywood actor Salman Khan are all excited as the makers of his upcoming action thriller Radhe, Your Most Wanted Bhai are all set to release its trailer tomorrow. The film will release on the 13th of May. Bollywood star Madhuri Dixit recently became the latest addition to the viral Bajrida Sitta trend. The actor shared a gorgeous video for performing to the popular song and giving priceless expressions. Starring actors and actresses with disabilities, the Ramadan series Case 404 is due to air on April 27 on YouTube, narrating the daily and often unnoticed struggles faced by people with disabilities in Egypt. Today is marking 5 years since musician Prince died at the age of 57. To mark the occasion, 1,400 fans will be allowed into his home and studio Paisley Park to view his ashes, which will be displayed in the atrium. British singer Boy George launched a casting search for an actor to portray him in a music biopic set to start filming this summer. The charismatic Culture Club frontman took to social media to make the announcement. American designer Michael Kors paid tribute to Broadway in his 40th anniversary show in a collection that celebrated a night out in the New York theater district. Kors' presentation began with the designer greeting fashionistas from Times Square. The French heist drama titled Lupin has become the most watched show in the first 3 months of 2021. According to Netflix viewership charts, the data showed that around 76 million member accounts worldwide watched at least a couple of minutes of the series over its 4 weeks of release. Actor Edgar Ramirez will be seen in next Netflix upcoming drama series Florida Man. The series will revolve around an ex-cop sent back home in Florida to investigate a new missing persons case. Popular toy company Mattel's film division has announced its plan to develop Rock Them, Sock Them, the tabletop game featuring battling robots, as a live-action movie featuring Hollywood star Vin Diesel. With the release of her much-anticipated album Fearless, American singer and songwriter Taylor Swift has topped the UK's official albums chart, beating a long-held record by the English rock band The Beatles. In this fight against COVID-19, we at DD India are doing our best to keep our viewers updated with all latest news and updates. But we need your support too to strengthen our fight against this global pandemic. Just 3 simple steps that we all really need to follow: wear a mask, wash your hands and maintain social distancing. Thank you so much for watching DD India.